We welcome you live. Lockland High School, not Princeton High School. Princeton High School getting renovations, moved it down to Lockland High School, Rutgers Stadium, where Lakota East is taking on the Princeton Vikings. Big GMC matchup here today, Ethan. East coming in, the win last week against Hamilton, 31-27. A big showing for Ryder Hooks, who ran for nearly 250 yards on the ground that game. Princeton, another huge win on the season, taking down a very good Lakota West team in Lakota West. That score was 27-10. Both of these teams coming in with momentum. This is just a huge matchup for GMC standings. Both these teams 3-1. Princeton number 2 in the GMC. Lakota East number 3. This could be the future of who wins the GMC this year. What do you think this matchup's going to hold for us, Ethan?
Yeah, for sure. Both of these teams are coming in off wins, like you said, and they want to kind of fight this out. And some are saying this is going to be a close game. Some are saying it's going to be a blowout by Princeton. But I'm thinking this just all comes down to who can control the run game. When you have somebody like Ryder Hooks on your offense, you can definitely control the field. But still, this Princeton defense is scary. So you're going to want to stop some of these guys. And when you have defensive players like Terrence Jones, Derek Jeffries, and Elijah Waller, you're going to want to make sure that you're protecting your quarterback, protecting your key players, and making sure this game doesn't go off a cliff.
Yeah, this Princeton defense, the very best in the GMC, did allow 41 points to Moeller, but you got to credit that to those 6 interceptions thrown from Princeton quarterback Loris Barnes. Only threw 5 passes last week as Princeton just pounded the rock using their new weapon, Zion Neal, another big headline. The former Thunderhawk, now a Princeton Viking. His return, playing his former team, as Ryder Hooks will take the kickoff at the 10, trying to make a cut, but gets wrapped down at the 20-yard line. Great coverage there from the Princeton Vikings, and now Knutson will trot on out to try and put the first points up on the board this game.
Niall Knutson coming out here, like you said, off that win last week. And Niall Knutson coming in for his first time playing varsity as a starting QB. He's doing pretty well so far this season. He's been leading his team to a great 3-1 record so far, and he's putting up some great stats on his own. But you're going to want to thank some of these teammates that he has here with Ryder Hooks, Chris Boyer. I mean, he's got P.J. McFarland out there. He's got all these options and just great availability everywhere, and he's able to use it, and that's exactly what we've been seeing.
So Knutson, first play of the game, will go to Ryder Hooks and swallowed up Princeton defense playing that strong box. Terrence Jones, Derek Jeffries, Jesse Proctor, all in the middle of the field trying to put pressure on Niall Knutson. And you see that time stopping Ryder Hooks for a gain of nothing. This East offensive line has their work cut out for them. We'll have to see if they rise to the challenge. Knutson will put Carter Jones in motion. He'll drop back to a screen pass to Chris Boyer. That is Jaden Say trying to break a tackle, but wrapped down. Derek Jeffries, Jaden Say, nowhere to go on that screen pass.
And here we are already, only the first drive of the game, and some of these big defensive players for Princeton already making big moves and stopping this East offense right in their tracks, pushing them back pretty much right where they received that kickoff, especially this great two-way player on the Princeton defense, Terrence Jones. We're definitely going to be looking out for him on defense tonight.
Yeah, playing both linebacker and tight end. Knutson, great blocks downfield, and P.J. McFarland will make the catch. Take it to the 37-yard line. Great way to get the offense going. Nice throw from Niall Knutson. The few that made their way to Lockland get loud on East sideline. Love to see that from Niall Knutson.
Yeah, P.J. McFarland always being a great target for Niall Knutson. He doesn't throw to him as much as we'd like to see, but when he does, it works.
Man, Ryder Hooks blown up from Andrew Wells. Not the biggest guy on that Princeton defense, just 5'11", 180, but man, did he sniff that one out. That's his first tackle for a loss. That is his 4th tackle for a loss on the season. You don't see a guy getting sacks and tackle for losses consistently, especially at the corner position. Andrew Wells has just been a monster all year. Princeton's #1 corner, showing why he's their #1. Showing out in his senior season. Knutson now tossed to Ryder Hooks on the right side, looking for blockers. Going to push it for a gain of about 4. Going to be hard for Ryder Hooks to get going. Would not be surprised to see him throwing screens, tosses, just trying to get him any space they can find.
Yeah, Princeton's defense here, they're trying to get Niall Knutson and Ryder Hooks out of their comfort zones tonight, because this is an East offense that just loves to hand the ball off, and it has not been working as well as they'd like so far. In Princeton, they're just going to hold up, and they're not going to let Ryder Hooks run across this field. So East is going to need to find new ways to get the ball going. They're going to need to dive into the passing game a little bit more if they want to get some points in this game.
They will go to the passing game. Just going to be a little screen pass to Ryder Hooks. This is the space I've been talking about. Tries to make a cut. He will be close to the first down. They could spot it just a little bit short, but would not be surprised to see them go for it here, pushing it close to the 50. They will spot him a couple yards short now. 4th and 2. East getting to the line quickly, trying to catch this Princeton defense off guard. Have to see what they do here. Knutson now looking to the sideline.
East is going to try to see if they can impose their will here. If they can get this 4th down conversion, that puts the Princeton defense into a state of having to keep going out there.
Knutson all the time in the world, but Carter Jones make the catch. He will be close to a first. Wonder will they'll spot it. They will say he was just short. Carter Jones couldn't slip the tackle. And Loris Barnes, Zion Neal, and this Princeton offense will take over. A nice stop from this Princeton defense to start the game.
Carter Jones, definitely a good attempt there to try and get that first down. You see, he kind of tried to reach a little bit there to get the ball over, but he just got taken down just short, and that will set up this strong Princeton offense to come out here in pretty much fantastic field position on the 50-yard line for their first drive of the game.
Yeah, this Princeton offense, like I said earlier, loves to run the ball. They have the most rushing yards. I find this interesting. They have the most rushing yards out of any team in the GMC. You see Zion Neal out there, quarterback. He'll take it himself. First carry against his former team goes for about 3. This Princeton team, like I said, not going to throw the ball. Only 5 pass attempts last week. They're just going to pound the rock, and they lead. They have the most rushing yards for an offense in the GMC, but not a single one of their players are in the top 5 for rushing yards. So this is a team, they're going to spread the wealth. A lot of different guys are going to run the ball. A lot of the running backs are going to get rest. East defense just has to hone in, try and stop the run.
Definitely. And when you have a guy like Zion Neal playing pretty much all over the offense here, especially in these wildcat positions we've seen before.
But Barnes is going to take it himself. Second touch for Zion Neal. Getting a lot of action early. He's the focal point of this Viking offense. He will pick up a first down. Chains will move. Princeton making it look easy right now. 2 plays, 1 first down.
Yep. And honestly, Zion Neal's a tough man to cover. I mean, he isn't exactly the biggest guy out there, 5'9", 170, but he is quick. If you let him get away, he could just be gone. So they're definitely going to have to be ready in coverage for Zion Neal.
Broke the 40-yard dash record at Lakota East. Ran a 4.4 in high school. I mean, that is just insane. As Hambrick will get the tackle and stuffed that time. Chris Leverett came down in assistance. Great job from this East defense. You got to see more of that in this game. Got to see these defensive linemen getting off their blocks, making sure these running backs can't get into space.
Yeah, and honestly, East's defense tonight isn't going to be about, oh, stopping this, stopping that. They just need to make sure that Princeton doesn't get on a roll. If they can impose their will, they will stop this Princeton offense.
Zion Neal will get the carry. No, break free! We'll say he stepped out. It will be a first down, though, so they give it to their premier guy, Zion Neal. Once again, another first down for the Princeton Vikings. Zion Neal already showing out against his former team.
And part of it is, like, is Zion Neal coming here to prove that he's better off at Princeton over Lakota East? Or is he just here thinking, oh, this is just another game?
Barnes now will hand it off to Hambrick. Just a little bubble zone there. Picks up a nice gain, though. Good push from this Princeton D-line, but I want to say also a good push back from this East D-line. I mean, it felt like in that Mason game and that Hamilton game, running backs just had all the space in the world. This East defense has looked solid at the very least to start this game, just trying to contain that run. It's just going to be all what you see from Princeton. Just run, run, run. And it sucks because that's what East is, the worst at stopping. It's 9th in the GMC in rushing defense, just ahead of Sycamore.
East defense, especially on that D-line, definitely not built to stop the run.
Zion Neal again in the Wildcat. This time he is spun down. A nice tackle from Carson Schroyer. He's wanting to have a big game. He had a really nice game last week. 11 total tackles, 7 of them solo. He's one of these linebackers, him and Dawson. They can really just take over this game if they can get going. That's a good start for him. It'll bring up a 3rd down. Princeton in field goal range. Saw their kicker warming up. He was kicking it very easily from the 20-yard line, but obviously in game a lot different. Hear the cowbells ringing in the East stands. 3rd and 4. Barnes will just hand it off to Hambrick on the side, trying to find a lane, trying to push to the outside. He is pushed out. Ryder hooks Braxton Thurman there to push him out. It'll bring up 4th down. Would not be surprised to see Princeton go for it, however.
Yeah, Princeton's definitely a very aggressive team when it comes to the 4th downs. They love to go for it on these 4th and shorts, and we've even seen them go on some of these more riskier 4th downs. I'm pretty sure I saw in their game last week against their Lakota West defense, they went for, I believe, a 4th and 3 or a 4th and 4, and they got it.
Here they go. 3 running backs behind Zion Neal. They will all block. He will break through, get the 1st down. Tripped up by Dawson Reap to save the touchdown. But on 4th and 4, they go halfback dive and they pick it up. A nice tackle, but it will be a 1st down.
It was a really close one there by Zion Neal. Not Carson Schroyer. Dawson Reap barely caught up to him, got him by the edge of his feet. That almost could have been a touchdown, but that was a nice tackle to keep Zion Neal out of the end zone.
They go same exact formation. Andrew Wells got it last time, and this play will be blown dead. Andrew Wells, the DB, jumped a little early. It'll be a false start on Princeton. A little too eager to get that ball and try to run into the end zone. So it'll back up Princeton 5 yards. Could be what East needs to help them get this goal line stand.
Yeah.
Wood went from the 6-yard line, now at the 11.
Yep, and Lakota East defense bringing out the sophomore linebacker, Dalton Cheney, who has his first season for this East defense, has been doing well. He's been contributing to the defense, and he's been a great player for trying and getting and stopping the run up the middle, and let's see if they can do it now.
Barnes now only threw 5 times last week, trying to go to the back of the end zone for Zion Neal, just too far. Loris Barnes, not the most accurate passer in the very first week. I know it's Archbishop Moeller, but 6 interceptions. That is something you do not see often. Haven't seen that since the 2015 Oak Hills days. I don't know if anyone's looked back or remember that season. Quarterback threw 25 interceptions in just 10 games. Loris Barnes has cleaned it up, though. Only thrown 1 interception since that 6 interception game. He has not thrown the ball too much, though. As you can see why. Very much too far for Zion Neal. He will throw again, though. It is caught to the goal line. They say it's a touchdown. Landon Myree, normally plays tight end, lined up at receiver. Did not get a catch all last week. His very first one goes for a touchdown. The Arizona State commit puts 6 up on the board, and Princeton draws first blood.
Princeton's definitely nice at getting their ball out to different players here. And while they do like to run it, like you said, even when you have a guy like Loris Barnes, who, like you said earlier, isn't the greatest pocket passer, you still have people that can catch the ball for a touchdown and be reliable.
Not sure at all what just happened there. A little bit of a funny kick. I'm not sure if it's just me, but it feels like both sides of these stands right now, one of the most quietest atmospheres I've ever experienced for a high school game. Normally, these games, especially a game like this, Lakota East versus Princeton, maybe it's because I had the headset on, but not a lot of hype on both sides. Obviously, going to Lockland, not everybody is normally going to show up. Again, flags fly. Princeton will be backed up, so what went from a not-so-surefire extra point, their kicker, Nate Messer, 11 for 16 on the year for extra points. So that's like 66%. Not exactly the guy that's just going to go out there and say, hey, every touchdown, you know, it's 7-0. But went from a easy extra point is now a much harder extra point. We'll see if it gets to him. Extra point is up. And it is good, so the extra 5 yards back does not matter. And Nate Messer kicks it right through. It is 7-0 Princeton, as East will get another chance on offense when we return. We welcome you back now. After Nate Messer put up the extra point, he will be back to kick. Princeton already up 7-0. Carter Jones, Ryder Hooks back there to return.
I want to give a little bit of credit now to Cole Miranda for getting out there and getting a really good attempt at blocking that extra point. We see him diving out in front. That was really close. That easily could have been stopped.
Yeah, blocked an extra point against Centerville. Trying to get another one here. Braxton Thurman lets it go out of bounds. He should get the ball at the 40-yard line. Not quite sure if that bounced out or bounced through the end zone.
Looked more to me like it bounced out the side, but it's definitely a close call.
Unless I'm wrong on my high school rules, East should start with the ball at the 40-yard line. We'll have to see where they give it to him. Yes, they will back it up. So East starting with great field position. Last drive, pushed it to about the 50-yard line, went for it on a 4th and inches. Carter Jones just could not slip through a tackle. 35-yard line to start for Niall Knutson. Gonna need this run game to get going. East just seems to win when Ryder Hooks can move the ball on the ground. Their biggest wins, where they've scored the most points, coming when he runs for the most yards, runs for the most touchdowns. It's not all about getting the passing game going. You need a guy like Ryder Hooks to lean on. Offense shifts now to the right hash mark.
Especially with a strong Princeton defense here, you want to be able to run the ball, and that's what East is trying to establish right now.
Great pocket that time for Knutson, and P.J. McFarland will get his second catch of the ball game. Just a quick little out route. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 6.
East is definitely trying to get the ball to P.J. McFarland more. These first 3 or 4 weeks, we didn't see him getting nearly as many targets as we have years prior, but they're trying to use him now, as we have seen that the Ryder Hooks run game is starting to be stopped a little bit here.
They're going to need the rest of the receivers to step up, and it's a deep ball to Chris Boyer. Broken up. Nate Kennedy on coverage, just a little bit underthrown for Chris Boyer, trying to throw a little fade ball. Chris Boyer, a little bit of a quieter week Then week 3 against Mason last week. Only had 4 catches, 44 yards, still a nice day, but want to see him have the kind of production that we saw against Mason, hauling in 7 catches, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Trying to get the big man going early. Knutson under some pressure now, has to roll right, and he'll just flip it off to the side. They're going to say he got it out. They're not going to call it intentional grounding. Smart play from now Knutson to slip outside the pocket and just toss that one away. Not what you want on a 3rd and 5, and East will trot out Tyler Gruber to punt.
Yeah, now Knutson was under really heavy pressure there. And I think some of the players on that Princeton defense were expecting that to be called a fumble, but it was not, as East gets ready to punt now on 4th and 5.
Yeah, definitely threw it himself, didn't drop it, just worried they may have called intentional grounding. Gruber gets it away, averaging about 32 yards a punt. This one an okay one. It'll bounce. Zion Neal can't get it correctly, but he's got space. Cole Miranda trying to knock him down. He gets past him. PJ McFarland will finally bring him down at the 35-yard line. So what looked like could have been a good punt, Zion Neal, the always dangerous returner, brings it to about the 35-yard line. You remember some of those kick returns, those punt returns Zion Neal had last year. Miss him every single game. Flags fly now on the Princeton side.
Honestly,
I believe they're going to call holding.
Okay. Honestly, Princeton's lucky to have a player like Zion Neal. He's just a fantastic guy to have on your team. He's got the speed, like you mentioned earlier, ran a 4.4 40-yard dash in high school. Broke the Lakota East record, I believe. And he's continuing to show why he is one of the best players on this Princeton offense in this game, this big rivalry matchup between Lakota East and Princeton.
And despite this Princeton offense having a lot of weapons, a lot of guys they can throw to, Landon Myrie out there at tight end, he lines up at receiver most of the times. The Arizona State commit, like I said earlier, and Zion Neal committed to Youngstown State. They have all these guys, David Hambrick, a veteran running back. It just really seems that the addition of Zion Neal has just elevated this offense, and you wonder what kind of team this Princeton Vikings team would be without him. So, like you said, they are very lucky to have him, unlucky for East to lose him, but what's done is done. East defense out there now trying to stop Barnes. Princeton at their own 10-yard line. Barnes just hands it off to Hambrick right up the middle. Swallowed up by Carter Fosnov. The big D lineman making an impact early as he will help up his fellow Dalton Cheney, also there on the tackle. Love to see that out of a sophomore. Dalton Cheney is one of those guys that, like, in 2 years, I mean, he could be just a stud. He already is a stud.
I love to see out here that East, even though they are down 7-0, this is still very, very early, and East's running defense has definitely been trying a lot harder here now against Princeton than we've seen before, like against Mason. They are pushing back to make sure this doesn't become a crazy game.
Way over the head of Zion Neal, who had a lot of space if that throw was on target. East stands will get a second to catch their breath. That one could have gone the distance. Loris Barnes just tossed it way over Zion Neal's head.
Yeah, for sure. And Beckett Bush was lucky that was a bad throw because he was in coverage. And frankly, he got burnt by Zion Neal, and he could have been gone if he got that pass.
This not a situation Princeton finds themselves in often. 3rd and 8, backed up at their own 14-yard line. East stands, get loud now. Hoping this defense can get a stop. Hard to believe Princeton is going to go for it now. It's going to be a toss out and an easy first down. Ryan O'Brien with a catch that'll move the chains. East just playing very far back on defense. They just let that one go right in front of them.
Bryant O'Brien, another guy out there at your wideout receiver. Sorry, Ryan O'Brien. He's able to be a good backup guy when you aren't able to get Zion Neal receiving for 7 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's definitely a consistent target, and he can get some yards when he gets the ball.
You see it right there. Zion Neal that time, absolutely nowhere to go. Dalton Cheney, Cody Doyle there. That's the kind of pressure, that's the kind of penetration you need from this East linebacker core and defensive line. Excuse me, that was David Hambrick on the tackle. He will trot to the sideline. Man, Dalton Cheney got in there quick.
Yeah, for sure. He was definitely able to get in there, penetrate the offensive line, and wrapped up Zion Neal right away. That was a great defensive play to stop some hopes here, to bring second down to Princeton's offense.
Yeah, East running that 3-3-5 trademark scheme. A lot of linebacker blitzes to start this game. Landon Myrie will hurdle a man. A flag will fly. My goodness, that's the kind of athletic prowess that the 6'6", 230-pound tight end brings. You don't see a 6'6" tight end hurdling too many people, especially in high school. But flags will fly. A lot of frustration for this Princeton team, looking like it's going to be on them. Not a huge gain. It will be on Princeton. It will back them up even more. Some great fights shown from this East defense to start this game.
For sure, and I was a little bit worried coming in here. We saw the last time East played a heavy run offense when they played Mason in week 3, and we all know the outcome of that game. It came into a shootout, and we just couldn't manage it. So coming into this matchup against Princeton, I was a little worried that the run game was going to be an issue, but East has been able to get in the pocket and be able to stop some of these plays before they can get too far.
This Princeton offense not afraid to throw the ball right now. Like I said earlier, only 5 passes last week, only connected on 2 of them. No touchdowns through the air, an interception for Loris Barnes. Against the #1 passing defense in the GMC, right now they're not afraid to air it out.
Yeah, Lawrence Barnes, a guy that if you were going and looking at stats and you see what I believe is 7 interceptions, 6 in that week 1 matchup against Moeller. But even though you're seeing this and you're seeing that 6 interceptions in 1 game, you can't all just say that that's thanks of a good defense.
That ball floated for a long time, nowhere to go. Marco Pastor brings him out of bounds. Marco Pastor, one of the young guys, a sophomore who did not play much to start the year. He's been proving himself in practice. He's ready to make his second varsity start against this highly touted Princeton offense, but that time a great tackle will bring up a 3rd and 20 for the Princeton Vikings. Loris Barnes definitely going to air it out here. You got a guy like Zion Neal out there. Would not be surprised to see a deep ball to him.
Actually, I'm thinking they're just going to let the clock run out in this first quarter.
And they will. Clock winds down. End of the first quarter. Your score, 7-0 Princeton Vikings. Second quarter starting when we return. We welcome you back now. Start of the second quarter. Princeton up 7-0. But Princeton with the ball, they are backed up on a 3rd and 20 from their own 14-yard line or 16-yard line. Going to need a big play to pick up the first down. We would be surprised they went for the punt. They'll throw just a slant across the middle. It is intercepted by Carter Jones. Dangerous throw that time. Carter Jones getting low and picks it off. East will take over at the Princeton 30-yard line.
Yeah, that was a fantastic pick by Carter Jones. That was one of those plays. I see that ball coming. I'm thinking it's just going to be incomplete. But Carter Jones got in there. He got low, and he caught that ball, giving East the ball in this on Princeton's 35-yard line, giving them fantastic field position only 5 seconds in to this second quarter.
Jones did fall down on the catch. 35-yard line now for now Knutson. This run game been non-existent. All of East yards coming through the air. Saw on the last drive, now Knutson get pressured a couple times. Forced an East punt. Defense comes up with a big stop. Got to respond now. Little miscommunication right there. Right across the middle to Jaden Say, and he drops it. That would have been a first down and possibly more. Jaden Say, one of those guys you really want to see get going. Feels like these past couple of weeks hasn't been getting a lot of looks until the end of the game. A lot of people in the East building want to see him get the ball more. Had his opportunity there, just couldn't bring it in. Second down and 10 now for Knutson. Swing pass out to Ryder Hooks, who's trying to get a block. Carter Jones get pushed back, but it is a nice gain for Ryder Hooks. He'll pick up about 8. It'll be a 3rd and short now for this East offense.
Yeah, Ryder Hooks was really able to get in there and go up the sideline, making this a very manageable 3rd down. And I'm glad to see that Jaden Say drop wasn't a big deal for East, because you still have reliable guys all over the field. And it's nice to see that everybody on this East offense is somebody that when they get going, they really get going. Especially players like Chris Boyer and Ryder Hooks.
Like you said, Chris Boyer getting the screen pass, nowhere to go. Swallowed up. Terrence Jones, Derek Jeffries on the tackle. Jesse Proctor in there too. Derek Jeffries, Terrence Jones, guys, you're going to hear us say their name a lot tonight. Highly touted linebackers. It feels like every year Princeton has these highly touted, highly scouted linebackers. Grant Bierman from last year committed to Illinois.
Definitely
Next up is Terrence Jones and Derek Jeffries. Both of these guys just juniors. Going to be monsters next year. Timeout called for Lakota East. We'll step away for just a moment. We welcome you back. Lackland High School, big 4th down and 3 for the Thunderhawks. Gonna need to pick this up to move the chains. Knutson will put McFarland in motion. He's gonna drop back, trying to get it through the air. He'll throw it out to Jaden Say, and too far on the outside for Jaden Say. Princeton's offense will take over once again, but they are backed up into their own side of the field. East defense going to be asked to get another stop.
Yeah, Jaden Say being one of those guys where he's been a reliable target for Lakota East the entire time he's been playing here. He's having a little bit of an off minute here, but I believe that he can get back in a groove. And so far, it's been a very defensive-focused game as East trots back out here, with Princeton starting their, I believe, 3rd drive of this match on their own 28-yard line.
Haven't seen too many big plays from either side in a game where I thought it was probably going to be a lot of big plays. Barnes now in the backfield, just hand it off to Zion Neal. He's a guy who can make one of those big plays happen. Gets a nice push from his O-line, but East won't let him go too far. Just a pickup of about 5. Bring up about a 2nd and 5 for Princeton offense. They will go to the hurry up. Trying to get this East defense tired. They hand it off again. No, Barnes will take it himself. Not a guy who runs too much, but he gets a nice gain, a first down for Loris Barnes. He only has 3 carries, negative 16 yards, because they do count sacks as carries. I believe that could have been his first keeper of the game. You saw last year Princeton running that triple option without the running quarterback D'Angelo Burst that they had. He went to Mason. They're going to have to find a new offense. They've done well to start the year as Zion Neal takes that slant for a first down. We talk about Zion Neal and his speed. He was one of those shorter, slimmer wide receivers that could just fly. If you look at him now, almost don't recognize him. A lot bigger, a lot stronger. Really hit his potential here for Princeton Vikings.
Yeah,
he's going to be a problem for the rest of this game and the rest of this year for the rest of the GMC. Already proving to be one in just his first 4 games.
Even with even being like you said, he bulked up. He's still managing to be shifty all over.
Great tackle that time. Guess who? Carson Schroyer. It'll be a loss of about 1. A nice tackle for loss for Carson Schroyer. David Hambrick hasn't really gotten much going in this game. I mean, last week, he averaged over 11 yards a carry against the Lakota West defense. That is something you do not see very often. So David Hambrick was definitely somebody this East team pointed out in the scouting report and in the film room. Got to find a way to stop him because when he gets going, he can break it for a big one. Got his first touchdown of the year last week. Barnes now just hands it off to Zion Neal again, following his blockers. He finds space, 1 man to beat, he will beat him, Zion Neal. Touchdown, Princeton.
Zion Neal just found a hole there, ran it up all the way through the sideline, and got into the end zone. And that was a nice couple of moves there he had to break a couple attempts at tackles. And once he had that open field, he's just gone. A fast, shifty wide receiver, somebody that you can manage to get the ball to very, very consistently, even as just a senior in high school. He's turning out to be quite the player.
Got to give a lot of credit to the blocking on the outside, the blocking from this Princeton team. Javian Williams, the big sophomore left tackle, leading the way for him as the kick is good. It'll be 14-0 Princeton. We'll stay with you. 14-0 Princeton. This East offense has to respond. I mean, they've looked stagnant. They've looked slow. Got to get some of the energy back in this side of the field, this side of the stands. And right now, I feel like you just got to get more energy on those sidelines. Even when they were coming out, it seemed like they didn't have as much energy, like I said, as they normally do in these types of games. I mean, this could be who wins the GMC. If any of these teams wins out, they will be crowned victors of the GMC. Princeton already picking up that big win against Lakota West. They're not going to have to worry about them for the rest of the year. Could be smooth sailing for Princeton after this game. They're looking to repeat as GMC title winners for football. East offense now, Knutson definitely have their work cut out for them now. Down 14-0 to start this game. Gonna have to see how they respond.
And the GMC, honestly, is one of those teams where generally you can have any of these teams, sorry, not any of them, but there's a good couple of teams in the GMC that can all be contenders for the title. And we've seen it be pretty different every year.
Ryder Hooks now will field the very short kick, just trying to find a lane. He tries to bounce it outside. A flag will fly. Ryder Hooks will get a nice return up to the 30. And like you said, you think about who runs the GMC recently. You think about the red teams, right? Princeton, Lakota West, but it just is going to take a little bit of a spark and a one upset in one of these seasons for a team like Hamilton, although Hamilton looks like they're pretty much out of it this year. A team like Hamilton, team maybe like Mason, and this team right down here, Lakota East, to just get one of these upsets, really finish one of these games. They can finally change the tune, and they themselves can take the GMC crown. You saw last year, East did place 4th in the GMC, but they did beat the 3rd place team, Hamilton. East had losses to Princeton and Lakota West. The flag will be on East, so a nice return will get negated. They will be backed up. If you think back to last year's matchup, this East team played Princeton at home. A very close game, 19-17, the final score. Princeton eked out a victory on a game-winning field goal on a controversial pass interference call. Ryder Hooks just has to try to spin out of every tackle. Swallowed up. This Princeton defense not letting him get going, not letting him go anywhere to start this game.
These are two fantastic teams coming into this game, and these are both teams that could easily fight for the #1 spot in the GMC. Honestly, GMC is looking a little wonky right now, having Middletown sitting at the top 4-0, but anything can happen. They can drop, and they can drop hard. Any of these teams could come up and take that first place spot in any of these games.
Encroachment called that time against the Princeton Vikings. It'll be a 2nd and 5 now. Could be the little bit of momentum and spark this East team needs. It just feels like you get one play to break big. There's going to be a lot of life on this sideline. Knutson bobbles the snap a little bit under a lot of pressure. Gets it out of Ryder Hooks, who makes a nice catch. Tackled down by Nate Kennedy. But a nice snag from Ryder Hooks will push it to a first down. Nice job from Niall Hooks to barely avoid the pressure. Now Knutson to barely avoid the pressure.
Yeah, like you said, that was a good recovery from Niall Knutson. He bobbled that snap. It popped up a little bit, but he caught it back, and he threw that out to Ryder Hooks, who ended up picking up the first down in a play that we were going to be nervous about that ended up being pretty beneficial.
Gets that one cleanly. It'll be a deep shot over the head of P.J. McFarland. That is twice now Knutson cannot hit on his deep balls. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 now following the incompletion.
Far by Niall Knutson this season with throwing deep. He's definitely not your go-to guy when you think of a gunslinger that can really launch that ball. But the one thing he has is when he is throwing these screen plays and these shorter passes, he is consistent.
A little bit of a hesitation on that time, trying to confuse the Princeton defense. It will work well. Ryder Hooks pushes it for about 8. It'll bring up a 3rd and manageable, or not, about a 3rd and 5. Hard to see quite where he stepped out on that side of the field.
Looked like he got a little bit more than he did. Must have been a tricky one. He could have stepped out and came right back in before getting pushed out for the final time. A lot closer to this first down than he was here.
Knutson now on 3rd and 5. Trying to pick up a crucial 3rd down. Already down 2 touchdowns. Don't want to give this ball back to the Princeton offense. Under a lot of pressure again. He will push it to P.J. McFarland again. Too much on the throw. It'll bring up a 4th and 5. Tyler Grubel will trot out there once again for his 2nd punt of the game.
Now Knutson really has to kind of get into a groove here. Some of these last passes put a little bit too much on it, but this is still one of those things where he can pick it up and recover it quickly, and if he doesn't, this is going to be a very repeatable scenario of these 4th downs where East is forced to punt.
You know, it starts with the O-line. Is that a very good line drive kick from Tyler Gruber? Zion Neal cannot get outside of Jaden Say, who makes a nice coverage tackle. Princeton Vikings will take over. We'll step away for just a moment. We welcome you back after the short break. Princeton came out very quickly. Barnes will put Neal in motion, just hands off to Hambrick right up the field. Hambrick falls forward for a nice gain of about 8. That's that trademark Princeton offense. Pound it on the ground, just hand it. Multiple guys they can give the ball to. David Hambrick, Nehemiah Neal, LJ Williams, all with a couple of touchdowns themselves. Haven't seen the latter of the two really getting too many carries. Right now, it's just David Hambrick, Zion Neal, Loris Barnes leading the way.
For sure, they're definitely giving a lot of these runs to Zion Neal. Even though he's listed as wide receiver, they've got him going all over the place on this offense.
Hambrick falls forward again. It'll be another nice run, another first down, and Princeton is really taking control right now. All this East team, it feels like all they need is just one big play, one big spark. I know I say that a lot, but feed off the big play. They feed off that momentum. Just need one big stop here. Turnover would go a long way. Barnes already throwing one today. Unfortunately, East could not capitalize. It's going to be hard. This Princeton defense is not going to let you get too much.
For sure, and this East defense definitely can't shy away, no credit from them. They've been playing very well. They've been stopping what they can, and they've still had Princeton producing.
Myrie on a quick little out route. The freak athlete tight end. Said it a couple times, but very dangerous with the ball in his hand. He will only pick up a gain of about 1. These spots have been a little weird today. I thought he got much more than that. They're going to spot him just 1 yard. So a very nice wrap up that time. That's once again Marco Pastor. Not the biggest guy, just a sophomore, but he's out there making plays. He had 8 tackles last week. Him and Chris Leverett, the future of this East secondary. Barnes now drops back, finds the middle of the field. Broken up that time. Dawson Reap not letting him go anywhere. Nice pass breakup for Dawson. A 3rd down and 9. Big opportunity for this East defense. Try and get their offense back out onto the field.
It's definitely really nice to see. It's definitely really nice to see some of your linebackers coming out here and playing great pass deflections and good pass defense. And if you can do it well, you're going to be able to run good different parts of your secondary.
Apologize for any audio problems. Not quite the setup we wanted. Weird stadium location. Wide open on the out route. David Fields with a nice grab.
Definitely a very close reception there. He was almost on the sidelines. I can't quite tell from all the way up here, but it was definitely really close, and it was nice that he could get that step out of bounds without getting any contact.
A lot of these throws, it feels like, though, from Loris Barnes, kind of hanging in the air. I mean, if guys are wide open, you don't need to throw a line drive, but making the right decisions right now. Barnes playing with a lot of calmness to him as he just hands off to Hambrick, who tries to run forward. Swallowed up again from this East D-line. Carter Fosnov in there. Gabe Abnelnor will check in. Carson Schroer also in there for that stop.
It's really great to see when you have a defense who has had struggles before, kind of picking up some slack now. And they are able to maintain some of this rushing, but they're going to have to try and get on the passing game here because they've been able to get some of these free, easy passes out to the sides.
Barnes just going to be a throw out on the screen. Dangerous throw. Threw it to the blocker instead of the receiver, but flags do fly. I think they're going to call this on East. Would hate to see that after a nice pass breakup from Marco Pastor.
It's definitely a little bit of
Princeton is backing up, though. So much confusion every time flags fly.
A lot of these penalties are definitely ones where they could really go either way. Don't really know what's going on here.
I mean, flags did fly, and the refs are motioning towards east side of players, but it will still be a 3rd and 9 after the incompletion. Barnes now in shotgun, back there with Hambrick. Hambrick will stay to block. Barnes under a lot of pressure, being chased now. He'll just throw it across his body to David Fields. Hit hard from Ryder Hooks, but David Fields with a nice grab picks up the first down on 3rd and 9. Princeton able to move the chains. Nice job from Loris Barnes moving outside the pocket, finding his man downfield. A nice job from David Fields adjusting to his quarterback to pick up that first.
Definitely great when you have a quarterback that can scramble around, move around a little bit in your pocket, and be able to still get a pass out. And that was a nice, quick little play. He had a lot of pressure. Loris Barnes was still able to get that short completion and give Princeton another first down.
Would have been a great for this East defense to get off the field. Zion Neal hit hard by Ryder Hooks. The two know each other very well, both of them excited to be on opposite sides of the field. Ryder Hooks making the switch to DB after East was looking to be lacking a little bit in the offseason. He has been great out there. I mean, this East defense is #1 against the pass in the GMC. Guys like Ryder Hooks, Cole Miranda making that possible. A penalty will be called on Princeton. It backs them up.
It's definitely
or
good.
Or not.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's definitely good to see when you have a guy that is playing a lot of both sides of the ball like Ryder Hooks. You can't have him out there on every offensive snap and every defensive snap, because if you do, he's going to get tired quick. And one way or another, that production is going to slow down a little bit, whether it's going to be lax on defense or lax on offense. So it's nice to see that they aren't pushing some of these two-way players too much.
Holding call that time on the left tackle, Javian Williams, the sophomore. Landon Myrie tries to hurdle again, and once again he will clear a man. Stumbles his way. Another flag will fly. Princeton just seems undisciplined right now. Myrie might have been fired up after hurdling.
Definitely a good point you're making there about the lack of discipline. Princeton is a really good team, but some of these issues you're seeing before with discipline, guys are getting too hyped up, a little bit too aggressive in some of these celebrations maybe. Like I said there, a personal foul. These are some of these things that even though this is high school and you make mistakes, these personal fouls are almost bigger issues at this level than you see other places, because these are just high school students. These are kids. And if you're going out there and you're doing these big, crazy things, these personal fouls are big deals.
This Princeton drive is taking a lot of time off the clock. Just 2 minutes, 42 seconds left in the first half, and clock will run after the penalty.
Princeton just took a timeout, though. Maybe. Guess not.
Don't believe they did. Our offense is staying out there. It's going to be first and 33 now after 2 penalties. Zion Neal out of the Wildcat just hands it off to Hambrick. And a nice wrap-up once again from this East D-line. Carson Schroyer, Dawson Reap coming up from those linebacker spots, getting the stop. This is the kind of push and penetration we've been wanting to see all year from this East defense. They're finally getting it against probably their biggest game yet. While they do have the one loss against Mason, that not really a game that people thought was going to come out the way it did. East, Princeton, and Lakota West, all the top 3 teams that people might have thought would win the GMC. These matchups always fun. It was a very good game last year. Princeton in control right now, but their offense hasn't been having it easy, as Hambrick will get it again, and Carson Schroyer again pulls him back. Not too big of a gain. Only will pick up a couple, and that's not going to be enough. Princeton probably just running the rest of this clock out, trying to go into halftime up 14-0. Not too concerned with putting up another touchdown. It is 3rd and 27 now for the Vikings.
For sure. I feel like even if Princeton fails to get this first down, which is a really heavy toll here, 3rd and 27, I almost feel like they might even go for it on 4th down. With a team like this, in a place like this, and you have this little time left on the half, why not go for it on 4th and however much we see here?
Not surprised to see this. Zion Neal gets the pass once again. Pushed out of bounds again by Marco Pastor. He's had a great start to this game. It'll bring up a 4th and very long. Despite the nice pickup from Zion Neal, this Princeton team most likely going to punt or going to just run the rest of this clock out. Not quite sure if Zion Neal stepped out or not.
Looks to me like he might have, but they look, unless these two clocks here, the play clock and game clock, aren't lined up quite right, I don't know if they have the time to run a play or if they will get a clock violation. I'm not sure, but it looks like the offense is still on the field.
Yeah. Timeout called from Princeton. They just let that one run down. They're probably going to take one shot at the end zone. Definitely not field goal range. Your guy's 11 for 16 on extra points. You're not going to try a kick from the 33-yard line, not in high school. So Princeton did just let the clock run down. 9 seconds left. Probably going to take one shot to the end zone. Do have a couple more timeouts, though. Could try and get just about a 10-yard gain. That might be field goal range for your kicker.
Even then, it's 4th down.
You're right.
If you don't get this 4th down and get to what I believe looks like the 15-yard line, you're handing the ball over. So this is kind of an all or nothing last 9 seconds here. Like you said, I don't think they're going to kick a field goal. Even watching their kicker warm up earlier, he had some good range on it, but it's not something where you can really trust a high school kicker to kick from here.
No. So it will be Hail Mary formation. Landon Myrie. Some of their taller receivers that don't really see the field too much also out there. Barnes drops back, steps up, chased by Carson Schroyer. He will get it off into the end zone, but way out of bounds. No chance for East. Time will run out. Clock strike 0. They may add a second. Wonder if that ball hit right at the 1 second mark. East might get one opportunity for a play, but does not look so. Both these teams gonna head into their, I would say locker rooms, but at Lackland High School, they're more like tents. I don't know if you can see it. Trying to get the camera to pan. Both of their teams will retreat to their respective tents as halftime hits. Your score, 14-0, Princeton Vikings in control. East going to need a big second half to bring back momentum and possibly win this game. It could be who wins the GMC. We are back to start the second half. Halftime finally over. Felt like we were up here for a millennium. But East will trot back out there and hit the sideline. Tall hill in front of them, down 14-0. Princeton just had two very nice slow drives. Worked the ball downfield. One of them, Zion Neal, broke free for a 30-yard touchdown run. The other one was just a 10-yard slant to Landon Myrie. Two of the biggest names on that Princeton offense scoring touchdowns. And on the other side of the ball, Lakota East not been able to move the ball much. Niall Knutson has not had a very good start to this game. He leads the GMC right now in passing yards with 938, but not the case here. I mean, he's throwing like 250 yards a game, not even at 100. Just some missed throws downfield, but can't really blame him for all of it. It all starts with the O-line. While we haven't given up a sack, no one guy has been just dominating us, and Knutson has not gotten hit directly. He's just under a lot of duress. Everybody on that Princeton D-line just getting nice pushes, putting Niall Knutson in a lot of pressure. And like I said, well, he's not really getting hit by those guys. It's just getting into his head, and you can feel Niall Knutson is not in his groove right now. And Ryder Hooks as well, not been able to run the ball well. Ethan, what else did you see in that first half?
Well, I've been looking, and it's been, like you said, it's been a very defensive game. And this score may look like something that East fans don't want to see. Yes, it is 14-0, but it's still anybody's game. East, while they are down 2 touchdowns, has been able to play good defense so far, and they have stopped quite a few touchdowns. This could be a lot worse of a spot, and East just needs to start cleaning up some of these smaller mistakes on offense. If they can fix some of these issues with the O-line, they can get Ryder Hooks some bigger holes to go through, then this could turn into a lot better of a game for East. 1 touchdown is all it takes, honestly. If we can get some momentum here, East is in a lot better of a place than where they are right now.
Princeton will receive the kick. They chose to kick it off in the first half. We still have about 2 minutes before we get kickoff going. Let me take you around the GMC real quick. The other 8 teams are playing against each other right now. Sycamore playing Middletown. Middletown was up 35-0 in the first quarter. Last time I checked, that score was 42-0. So Middletown on their way to coast to 5-0, staying at the top of the GMC. They're looking like the team to beat. They play West next week, and then East will play them the week after that. Me personally, very happy that Middletown might get the chance to get knocked back down to earth after their impressive 5-0 start from Lakota West. We'll have to see. That could be a good game. West is playing Fairfield right now in Fairfield. Score is not reported on Max Preps or GMC stats, but hard to imagine Lakota West is losing that one. While Fairfield is not the worst team in the GMC, they got some players. Dominic Back, big quarterback who started for them last year, had a great start to the season this year against picking up a couple wins against Coleraine and Sycamore. Still, West looking to bounce back after losing to Princeton last week. Hard to believe West is having too much of an issue right now with the Fairfield Indians. Coleraine, who hasn't won a game since 2021. I always like to check in on them at the start of every halftime just to see just maybe they'll end their suffering, but do not think so. That score, they're playing Oak Hills. That score also not reported. So Coleraine could be winning. We'll always have hope. I'll always have hope. Want to see them get back to their winning ways. Or always remember that 2004 season, the #1 team in the nation for high school. But they will play Oak Hills. And Oak Hills, while they haven't had the most impressive record, Oak Hills 0-3 in the GMC, most likely winning that game. And in the last game, Mason versus Hamilton. Hamilton up 14-7 at halftime. Mason, the team that gave East their first loss of the season, down to a team that East beat. Just goes to show it's all about matchups. It's all about how teams come out. Mason had their first home game of the season, decided to play their best ball. D'Angelo Birch playing probably one of the best games of his life against this East defense. But Hamilton is up, the Big Blue, 14-7 right now in the comments. Your score in this game, as you see on screen, 14-0, as A.J. Fitzstevens will kick it away. It'll be an onside kick, fielded nicely. A nice grab from Corey Bonner Jr., the senior defensive back. A little bit surprised he decided to put his hands on that one. If he bobbled that, could have been dangerous. Looked like it was going to go out of bounds, so got to give credit to John Kittner calling the onside kick. Not surprised to see that, as Zion Neal and the rest of this Princeton offense will trot back out there.
Glad that you noted Coach Kittner and these onside kicks. He definitely calls them a lot, and I feel like part of it is more or less trying to get that onside kick recovery in the moment, but also kind of teaching your guys, teaching your kickoff team how to do an onside kick, because you don't see them very much in high school. I feel like I only really see them this common out of Lakota East.
Zion Neal gives the ball up the middle to L.J. Williams, one of the 3 running backs that Princeton will sport in that backfield. He won't pick up much, and that's kind of what we saw in the first half. This East D-line wrapping up well. They're getting off blocks, and they're getting just that one arm out there that can slow down these Princeton running backs. They were great against the run. Hope they can keep that going here in the second half, as Zion Neal will stay out there in quarterback. Hambrick to his left, L.J. Williams to his right. Neal's going to keep it himself and throw. He did that a lot as a freshman at Lakota East. Out to Landon Myrie, who makes a great grab right on top of Braxton Thurman. 6'6" versus 5'6". That's a foot difference out there. What a throw from Zion Neal.
Yeah, these Princeton fans are definitely really happy with that, with a nice big play out of the first half. I'm glad that you mentioned what we see here by Zion Neal throwing the ball downfield. He was a quarterback listed at his freshman year at Lakota East, but he has since transferred to wide receiver. And even with that transfer, he's still playing all over the field.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed. Love to put him out at Wildcat. David Hambrick that time on the carry. He got the majority of the rushes in the first half swallowed up. Nice to see this East D-line and linebackers just not faltering, not shying of making contact, picking up nice stops, even after a big play like that. 2nd down and 8. We'll see if Barnes will take his first snap. Looks like he will. Hambrick will get a break as he hits the sidelines. Wonder if he's a bit shaken up. But it is Barnes instead of Zion Neal. Neal will go out to the left. Barnes threw a touchdown and an interception in the first half. Hands it off to L.J. Williams, trying to find a hole. Hits Carson Schroyer. Still not a big gain, though. Carson Schroyer will wrap him down. 3rd down and 5. Big chance now for Lakota East, although Princeton has been spectacular on 3rd down.
And what I'm seeing here from Lakota East is they're having a little bit of a switch in their defense. What I've noticed before is Lakota East would have fantastic passing defense and struggle with the run, and now we're seeing quite the opposite in this match against Princeton.
Yeah, Zion Neal again with the handoff. This time Hambrick will get good blocking and a push to push this Princeton offense even deeper into East territory now. Going to be a 1st and goal after the pickup on 3rd down and 5. And like you said, they are switching up that defensive scheme. First 4 games of the season, it was a 3-3-5, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 DBs. And they knew Princeton, they're just going to run the ball like they've been doing. So a switch up in the defense has been really nice. It's really worked out for them. And this time, Neal just going to keep it himself. Walk in, Zion Neal as advertised with his 2nd touchdown of the game. East missing him a lot right now.
For sure. I mean, Zion Neal is one of those players where not only is he highly skilled, but he's unpredictable. I mean, we've seen him catch the ball. We've seen him carry the ball, and we've even seen him throw it. So you just kind of have to cover him in any way you can. And right now, East just needs to find a secure for Zion Neal.
Been all of Princeton's offense tonight. He's throwing the ball, he's catching the ball, he's running the ball, like you said. All eyes on Zion Neal, and it doesn't matter. His second rushing touchdown of the game. This East offense has to show a little bit of a fight now. Their defense cannot hold on forever. You see that there. Gave Princeton good field position, but zero pushback from that defense at all. Not a lot of energy right now on East's side of the field. But like you said, this is still a game where East feels like they can get back in it. This East team is not a team that's just going to lay on their back and just, oh, they're down big, it's just going to be the end of the game. And no, this East team will fight back. John Kitna is not the kind of coach that's just going to let Princeton roll over you. But it's all going to have to start with this offense. Now Knutson has to get more time in the pocket.
For sure. And if we take a little bit of a blast to the past to the Centerville Week 1 game, it was one of them where we came into the second half with a little bit of a deficit. Definitely not as much as we're seeing right now, but we all know what happened in that game. If we can get a second half start here with 9 minutes in the third quarter, we got plenty of time to do it. I feel like East has always kind of been a good second half team.
Bad kick that time. Nate Messer, that is his second kickoff that's gone out of bounds. Cannot be happy with himself. East will get the ball at the 35-yard line. Like you said, going back to that Centerville game, 12-13 at halftime. East was able to score 23 unanswered points to go up 35-13 at one point in that game. That game ended 35-20. East offense with their first opportunity of this half to show what they've got, show the fight that they have in them. If this offense can get rolling, it's just going to give rest to the defenders, hype to the defenders to go out there and want to make a stop. Get it out to Carter Jones, who just needs a block. Jaden Say can't give it to him. Wrapped up by Zion Neal, another guy who's playing both ways. What is he now? He's throwing it, running it, catching it, and he's getting tackled for losses in the cornerback position. Second down and 11 now. The 1-yard loss on the catch for Carter Jones.
Not to drop a cheesy line here, but this is honestly Lakota East versus Zion Neal. When he's going out and doing everything, offense and playing some defense, you just got to honestly try to stay away.
A true difference maker in this game, and Knutson is swallowed up. This Princeton defense finally gets to him. That is their first sack of the game. About 4 defenders got to him that time. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long. East not been down and out of a game like this in a long time, it feels like. Even in that Moeller game, call back to last year, their last game of the season, down 35-0 in the first quarter. They still find a way. They still find a way to fight back with big plays. Zion Neal, one of those guys that created those big plays. PJ McFarland had a big catch to get the spark going. Knutson now. Pump fakes on the screen. He is swallowed up. Terrence Jones. Second straight sack for the Vikings. And East will be forced to punt.
This has just been a scary drive for East's offense, but you can't be down and out here. East needs to pick up and just pick themselves up, get going, punt this ball away, and come out on defense ready to go.
Princeton will take a timeout. We'll stay with you here. This game, only 7 minutes, 19 seconds left. Princeton up 21-0. What's it going to take, Ethan, for this East team to get back in this?
Well, for starters, we're going to need to start fixing some of these issues here with the O-line. Like we just saw in this last play, Terrence Jones for Princeton's defense got to Niall Knutson not once, but twice. 2 sacks in a row. While that's great for them, that's something you never want to see if you're an offense. You want your guys to be safe, especially your quarterback. And that kind of is leading to some of these other issues we've been seeing on the offense. Now Knutsen's getting pressured. He's forced to run around and scramble, and he's making some of these passes that, while they're not awful, are still leading to incompletions.
Gruber with his third punt of the game. A little bit of a low snap. Almost blocked. A very high short punt. Zion Neal isn't going to get his hands on it. A very nice roll will push it to exactly the 40-yard line. So was looking like a heart stopper. That one looked like it was going to get blocked. Tyler Gruber very lucky that it wasn't. And it got a nice roll, though. Like I said, 40-yard line now. Barnes and Zion Neal will trot out there. This could be one of those drives that just might almost end it. I don't want to say end it, but it just seems like with the way this East offense is playing, it's going to be hard. It's possible that you can come down 21-0. I mean, you've got the big play threats everywhere. It'll be really hard to come back down 4 scores against this Princeton Vikings team. Already 21-0. This defense trying to keep it at that. Princeton on their side of the field once again to start this half. They'll give it to Zion Neal again, who gets a very nice block from Landon Myrie. It will get it close to the first down. 2nd down and 9.
Yeah, the East is going to have to play. They're going to have to play some tightly run defense here because Princeton has all of these weapons on their offense where they can run it. And if you see the defense, East's defense switching it up to stop the run, they're going to throw it out to the side and have one of their receivers take it up the sidelines for big gains like we just saw.
Yeah, Princeton's one loss of the year falling at the hands of Moeller, and he is wrapped up that time. Carson Schroyer, flags will fly. Great pressure put on from Carson Schroyer. We'll have to see what the penalty is. Might be holding. Looked like he was kind of spun down a little awkwardly, hoping that it's not a face mask.
Definitely unsure of the call, but that was still great pressure by Dawson Reap and Carson Schroyer. They got in there, they got to the quarterback, and they brought him down one way or another. And whether this play, it looks like it's a face mask on Lakota East. That is very unfortunate, but as I was saying, even if you get a bad call, sorry, not a bad call, you get a call on your defense for face mask, if you can show that you can keep up that kind of pressure, that's a good thing, even in this scenario, because they broke through quite quickly for that sack.
Yeah, Barnes has been able to get the ball out quick. No pressure on him at all. Great job from Carson Schroyer to get into the backfield. Just unfortunate that he grabbed the face mask and not the jersey. This East D-line not giving way. Stuffing the run once again, and while you are down 21-0, you got to say the switch-up of schemes seems to be working. This is the #1 rushing team in the GMC, and East has really been able to stuff them for short gains and really just shut them down. Gotta like what you see, especially for the rest of the season. While East may drop to 3-2 if they're not able to complete the comeback in this one. East team's still great, and one of their only weaknesses was stopping the run, and they've been great at doing that right now in this game. Give a lot of credit to that D-line. A lot of different guys coming in. Cord Wallace, a lot of sophomores, a lot of young guys just trying to make a name for themselves. Carter Fosnov, the one big D-lineman that seems to always be out there making plays. He's had a very nice night. East defense keeping hope alive. Barnes tries to get it out for a slant. Great coverage from Braxton Thurman. It will be incomplete. It'll bring up a 3rd down now. This seems like one of those 3rd downs where East just has to get a stop to try and stay in this game.
This is definitely a crucial 3rd down, like you said. And it's nice to see that some of these guys are, like you mentioned earlier with the younger players, we have Cord Wallace on the D-line and then Dalton Cheney in the linebacker core. And these are guys that are able to help with this run-stopping ability. And if we look back to the game against Mason, last time East had an issue stopping the run, it wasn't like Mason was able to break off giant runs. It's more or less that they're getting these average run plays just again and again and again. And that's not as much of what we're seeing here. They're stopping the run majorly, but it's still an issue.
Yeah, it's a handoff to Hambrick. He will try and fight, but he will be stopped short. It'll bring up a 4th down. Have to see if Princeton will go for it. Like we said earlier, this Princeton team, a team that loves to go for it. 2 kicks on the kickoffs being kicked out of bounds from Nate Messer. So maybe not trusting him as much as they would like. The 4th and about 5. Not surprised to see Princeton stay out there. This has to be a stop for Lakota East. A big moment. Barnes and Hambrick in the backfield. He'll fake it to Hambrick. He'll throw it. Landon Myrie wide open. Not a defender within 3 steps of him. It is Landon Myrie's 2nd touchdown of the game. Princeton goes up 27-0.
And this is one of those moments where you're standing here, you have 5 minutes in the 3rd and then the whole 4th quarter to play, but it's not looking good for East. And not only is it because of this score, but because East hasn't been able to get anything going on the offense. And now more than ever, Princeton has momentum, and that's what matters right now. If this was a closer game or Princeton wasn't walloping like they were right now, this could easily be a closer game, even ignoring the score.
I think at this point in the game, we're talking like this game is completely over. It's 28-0, still the 3rd quarter, still obviously a chance for East. You'd have a lot more faith right now if this East offense was just able to move the ball at all. Nothing doing right now for Ryder Hooks or Niall Knutson. Got to give a lot of credit to this Princeton defense, who you thought coming into this game was going to have to show out to try and stop these guys. I mean, this is the #1 running back, the #1 quarterback in terms of passing yards in the GMC. I mean, and this Princeton defense showed them who they are. Knew it was going to be a tough game for East. I mean, you're going against a defense, first week of the season, played Mr. Ohio, Matt Ponitowski, threw for 4,000 yards last year, 40-something touchdowns to just like 2 interceptions, took Moeller to states, and they held him to 10 for 21 on passing with just 72 yards through the air. The only reason Moeller was able to put up 41 points in that game is because Loris Barnes threw 6 interceptions. And Princeton went up in that game 10-0 to start with 2 great drives. So you knew this Princeton team was going to be a really tough task. Just hoping to get anything going now. I think at this point you just got to just say, hey, it's 0-0. Let's just try to get something going on offense. Carter Jones will bob it a little bit, but he will pick it up, trying to find the outside. Gets around David Hambrick. Swallowed up at around the 32-yard line.
Good fight by Carter Jones there, getting those last couple yards with some movement over on the sideline. That was nice. And I like that you're pointing out this Princeton defense here, but honestly, they're just in a state where they have been winning this game this whole time, and they just need to continue what they're doing. They've almost effectively shut down Ryder Hooks, and that's probably what their biggest thing was going into this matchup, is stopping Ryder Hooks.
Well, this East team is at its best when Ryder Hooks is averaging 7 yards a carry. I don't know if he's gotten a run past 2 yards this game. Looking like a lot of what we saw in Oak Hills. A big pile that time at the line of scrimmage. Still some Princeton defenders down there. And this Princeton defense has just set the tone for the whole game. It's everybody right now. It's the D linemen, it's the linebackers, and it's the DBs. It feels like everybody on that Princeton team is at the ball every single play. I just don't think Princeton's going to lose another game in the GMC this year. They're already past West. They're looking great against East. That Princeton-Middletown game should be a good one. Timeout, Lakota East. We will step away for just a moment. We are back in Laughlin High School. Princeton High School getting some renovations on their field. They're having to play every home game at a neutral site. Knutson now on 2nd down and 9, under pressure again. Will launch deep to Chris Boyer. Again, just a little bit too far.
Flags go flying here. It's definitely some foul play.
Probably going to be holding on Princeton, which you like to see. But Chris Boyer did have a step. If Knutson could just throw that ball just a yard shorter, Chris Boyer could have been off to the races. But you will take a holding call. 1st and 5. The chain gang looking a little confused.
I believe they called that a pass interference, which is odd because, yeah, they're moving it now. Definitely a lot farther down the field than where we were originally thinking, but that's definitely putting East in a lot better of a spot here after that PI play on Princeton.
Well, if Ryder Hooks and now Knutson can't quite get things going, the refs are going to try and jumpstart him here. Knutson again with a lot of time. Chris Boyer makes a nice catch. He's still fighting. Nice push for a 1st down for Chris Boyer. He's really emerged as the #1 receiver on this East team. Jaden Say having a slower start to the season than he wanted.
It's a nice play there at the end by Chris Boyer, getting that ball and still fighting through Elijah Waller, that big linebacker for Princeton, to get that short 1st down. That was a nice run and catch by Chris Boyer.
Refs stopping time and coming together.
Not entirely sure what the stoppage is for.
So it will still be 1st down. A nice pickup for this East offense. Knutson finally getting something going. Knutson will go out and line up at receiver, trying to shake anything up. Fake Philly special. Carter Jones takes it himself and fumbles the football. PJ McFarland trying to fall on it.
Looks like there is a Princeton player at the bottom of the pile.
East will retain possession. Sigh of relief. Credit to Braden Pfeffer for pushing Princeton D lineman out of the way to fall on it. East hope stays alive here in the 3rd quarter. Scary fumble from Carter Jones. They'll give it to Ryder Hooks. He pushes forward for probably his best run of the night. Picks up about 4 yards. Pushes it to a 3rd and 5 now.
He's definitely trying their best to use some of these big contributors here. It's a nice little push by Ryder Hooks, and thankfully the fumble recovered by PJ McFarland, I believe. They're moving here, whether it's a combination of these flags, East offense, whatever they can get to get down the field right now.
And very lucky East was able to fall on that fumble. 3rd down and 5 now for Knutson. He will drop back, good pocket. He will launch it up for Chris Boyer, who doesn't make the catch. The East stands upset. Looked like the DB might have gotten there a little bit early. Just slips through the fingertips of Chris Boyer. It'll be 4th down and 5 now. This could be do or die.
I'm not going to lie, upset's kind of an understatement. This East section is furious, including our camera guy.
Refs, not refs, families in the stands screaming right now. Can't say I blame them. Knutson now on 4th down. Can't get it to Jaden Say. Jaden Say's 2nd drop of the game. Princeton's offense will take over. So a missed PI call will set Princeton's offense up right at the 30-yard line. See if Loris Barnes and Zion Neal could throw the knockout punch when we come back. We are back after the short break. Your score 28-0. Loris Barnes puts Zion Neal in motion. He'll just hand it off to David Hambrick, who makes a couple of nice cuts. Wrapped up by Marco Pastor, the DB, coming from the left side of the field to make the tackle. Despite East being down big, a lot of promise from that sophomore in that corner spot. He's not the biggest guy, but he's made some really nice tackles, shown a lot of grit, a lot of determination. Excited for his future with this East team. You see him right now lining up against the 6'6" Landon Myrie. Bit of a height difference there, as Hambrick will take it right up the middle once again. Close to a 1st down. He'll probably be just about a yard short. Depends on where they spot this. Yes, he will. Third down in inches now. Barnes will stay out there.
Princeton players very upset right now with that call being blown dead. Especially, I believe that was Zion Neal and a couple others getting a little feisty after that.
Yeah, 3rd and inches. I mean, the 3rd down marker is quite literally on top of the 1st down marker.
I believe it was
another flag just flew down in the Princeton huddle, and like you said, Zion Neal upset that that play was called dead. He wanted to find his hole and try and run it all the way on his former team. Knew Zion Neal was going to be a problem tonight if East couldn't contain him, and just been the story, man. Zion Neal is a difference maker. He's going to be a stud at Youngstown State. Excited to see how the rest of his football career plays out. So a sideline warning against Princeton. A couple of words probably thrown at the ref.
I believe that was Princeton's own timeout called that stopped the play. Interesting how, I don't understand. You get the sideline warning for a player?
Definitely on the coaches there. Timeout was called by Lakota East. 3rd and inches now for Loris Barnes. He hands it off to David Hambrick, who picks up the 1st down. Won't get too much, though. Swallowed up after about a 3-yard gain. So Princeton converts on another 3rd down. It just seems like Princeton is unstoppable on 3rd down. This East defense has done a really good job at forcing these 4th and 3rd downs, but Princeton just zero hesitation to go for it. So much confidence right now. Zion Neal gets the carry once again. Doesn't get too much, but will fall for a gain of about 3.
One of the biggest things to note here is that even when Lakota East's defense makes a big play, the Vikings offense they're staying strong here. These things may be hitting them, some of these calls maybe, or a big defensive stop, and they're still trucking. Like what we just saw here, even with some frustration, they just built up and got another first down and are moving the ball once again.
Still early in a very long season, and Barnes will just lose the football.
Slipped out of his hand as he went back to throw.
And oh no, Loris Barnes kicking in pain. Something obviously went wrong on that play. Trying to get the camera off of him. Barnes, we will step away for an injury timeout. That is Loris Barnes down for Princeton. Not what you want to see in a blowout game. We welcome you back. Loris Barnes was able to get off the field. Thoughts and prayers right now with him and his family. Rest of his Princeton teammates as well. They're still going to make refs in the GMC still want to play this game out. Never want to see an injury like that. Not in high school. Not in a blowout either. Like, all around bad for everyone in the stadium.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's going to be tough for these Princeton players to come out and keep playing, and I don't even know. They're going to have to do something.
It's tough for everyone to come out and
is.
play. You never want to see that, not to a quarterback, not to anybody. But the game, the show must go on. Princeton up 28-0 right now. 3rd down and 18. I have to look. Princeton does not have a tried and true backup quarterback listed. You see Zion Neal throwing a couple passes. Might want to keep him out of harm's way, though, after something like that happens. Just kind of shakes everybody up.
Kind of brings you back to reality here. When you see an injury like this, you kind of go from seeing football as just a game where everything's happening. Actually, both teams going out and talking in the middle of the field right now. It's a great show of respect.
PA system goes over. It tells everyone to start calling their rides. Zion Neal will go in at quarterback. He gets a nice run. Picks up about 11 yards. Will be a 4th down.
Clock doesn't move on that play.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty right now with how they're going to finish out this game. Still just the 3rd quarter. An entire quarter of football left to play.
I don't blame them. This is one of those scenarios where, quite frankly, finishing out this football game should not be the biggest priority. It's got to be everybody's safety.
Clock does start to tick. Just 35 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Hard for both teams to try and come out here and compete the rest of this game. Princeton will punt it away. A line drive kick. Carter Jones does not field it right, but it will roll to the end zone. Not a great punt there from Nate Messer. East will take over after a touchback on the punt. We will see if now Knutson can get anything going on this offense. Still a goose egg up on the scoreboard. Haven't even pushed the ball past the 50-yard line, it's felt like. I think they only did it twice. And after they got past the 50, could not get it into the red zone. Just trying to show a little bit of anything right now.
Definitely. I mean, East's offense here has been going very slowly tonight. And I don't think at this point of the game you're trying to go and win. You're just trying to show that you didn't need a complete shutout tonight, that you are still a good team, even with this 3rd quarter trickling away and this score showing 28-0.
That will be the end of the 3rd quarter. Rider Hooks was just swallowed up for a loss of 3. It'll be 2nd and 13. Lakota East football when we come back. We welcome you
Got it.
back. 2nd and 13. East deep in their own territory. Knutson fakes the handoff, tries to step up, and gets hit again. 3rd time tonight he's taken down for a sack. Jesse Proctor, the veteran D tackle, picks up his 2nd sack of the season. He is fired up right now.
Definitely, and Princeton's defense is just getting better as this game rolls on. And it's definitely going to be a good show of some of these senior players, like you said, including that was number 91, Jesse Proctor.
Knutson now backed up. Princeton defenders getting in his face after the play was blown dead.
Definitely another little bit of a show of what we saw earlier, and a little bit of aggressiveness, a little bit of lack of discipline from some of these Princeton players getting up in Knutson's face after that play.
And not quite sure why they did that after encroachment called on them. Just trying to show that they're not going to go away in this one. They're still going to keep the pressure on. I mean, they've had an amazing showing against the best offense possibly in the GMC. And you go out and you shut out Lakota West. That's just so much confidence. Coach Bolden at Lakota West, not a guy who gets shut out very much often, only put up 10 points. They get it out to PJ McFarland, who will break a tackle but gets swallowed up. It will be just a short game. It'll bring up 4th down. Tyler Gruber trots out to punt once again deep in his own end.
A little bit of confusion coming from these coaches on the east sideline, trying to tell them something different than what's going on right now. Not too sure.
Gruber gets this one away, out of bounds, trying to keep it out of the hands of Zion Neal. Maybe about a 30-yard punt, but Princeton will get the ball in their own territory once again. And while this Princeton offense has looked good, this East defense has had a couple of drives where they've shut down Princeton. It just seems like Princeton is always getting the ball on their own side of the field. They're getting short yardage situations. They've been able to move the ball easily. They've had full control of this game just because of how good their defense has been playing. On those drives where Princeton's backed up behind their own 30-yard line, East has been able to stop them. Just unfortunate that this East offense has struggled this much.
For sure. East is definitely lacking in their offense right now. Not seeing much of anything that we've seen before. While East has generally been a very offensive-focused team, it's just been all defense tonight from East. And even then, there has not been very much going on.
So another flag at the end of that play on Princeton once again. Just seems like they're kind of saying and doing whatever they want down there on the refs. Their home crowd, can't even call it home, neutral site like this. But their home crowd, letting the refs hear it. I mean, you control a game like this. They've had so many penalties called on them. So many times they've gotten backed up, and so many times it just hasn't mattered. Princeton's really been able to do whatever they want. You still want to have at least some discipline.
Yeah, and East and Princeton both trying to maintain a good composure of game right now. It's been definitely very slow right now by both sides. Just been trying to keep playing football for these last 10 minutes of play.
This not a sight fans are used to seeing for this John Kitna-led offense. Zion Neal steps in for quarterback with the injury to Loris Barnes. Picks up a very nice gain, 15 yards for the former Thunderhawk, who has just dominated in his revenge game. Can't even call it revenge. forced to move to Princeton, tried to come back, couldn't. Doing everything he can right now for Princeton. Shows you kind of player Zion Neal is, just does it no matter the environment, no matter what's going on. He's going to go out there, compete, be an athlete. No one better on the field right now than Zion Neal. Handoff goes a little bit to his left. He takes it himself, and that 4.4 speed on display makes the cut up the field, makes Ryder Hooks miss, and Zion Neal hits the end zone. His third touchdown of the game. All I gotta say as an East fan is, Princeton, you are welcome.
For sure. And Zion Neal is definitely just having a fantastic showing tonight. You could see why he was the #1 pick to come back in to play quarterback with Barnes out right now. Almost looked there like at the end that Ryder Hooks almost looked like he stepped out of the way to let Zion Neal go in the end zone. I don't believe it. That's just what it looked like to me.
Cole Miranda once again coming close to blocking an extra point. Love to see that effort from him. A veteran on this defense. Playing every single play till the whistle blows. Still 10 minutes left in this game. Princeton absolutely dominating right now. East will once again step back out there on offense. Offensive line gonna need to get Knutson just a little bit of time for him to throw the ball. Ryder Hooks has been stopped all game. It's been tough. I mean, this Princeton team is just tough. Is what they are. That's what they knew coming in.
Princeton is one of those teams where you have to come in and be ready to fight your hardest. And if you don't, this is going to be the outcome, because Princeton is just consistently one of the best teams in the GMC, and we have seen why. They have completely shut down Lakota East's offense, shut down Ryder Hooks, and they have been going crazy on offense. Zion Neal alone for 3 touchdowns.
Looks like Princeton will set down some of their starters. Or maybe they're just trying out a new kicker. Not happy with the way their kicker has played. Already 2 kicks kicked out of bounds. Jamison Holloway now for the kickoff. Saw him warming up a little bit. This one a short kick. A miscommunication on the returners. Didn't say which one was going for it. Carter Jones has to field it and only gets it to about the 15-yard line. Bad news gets worse for Lakota East, and running clock will start on this game.
East is coming out here right now, and we are well past the point of East trying to win this game. They are just trying to put up a fight even a little bit, trying to get in the end zone, capitalize on a drive, but getting back in a miscommunication to your own 15-yard line is definitely not the way to do it.
So backups in now for Princeton, so hopefully East can get a little something going. Knutson has to climb in the pocket. Can't find Jaden Say again. That is 3rd drop of the game. It's a tough catch. Defender all around him. That's Noble James, the junior defensive back, in the coverage. Good job from him, able to put pressure on Jaden Say. Still a good job from Knutson, able to climb that pocket, try and make that throw.
As these games go on, we've seen now Knutson under a lot of pressure, and he's been able to maintain it a little bit.
Carter Jones now. Really nice gain. Gets it to the 25. Still, I believe, will be a little bit short of the first down. They will give it to him, actually. They're definitely now, with Princeton's backups in, you're definitely going to want to see East move the ball. Clock is continuing to run, whether they go out of bounds or not. Doesn't stop on first downs. No timeouts will be called. East just trying to put 1 score up on the board. Want to avoid the shutout.
East, like you said, they're just fighting to survive, because anybody who wasn't at this game, and honestly even some people here, will be a lot more happy as East fans seeing 35-7 than 35-0 because, oh, flag thrown after the play. Don't quite know what happened there. Looked a little bit like some commotion after the play.
It feels like there's been a lot of commotion after most of these plays, and almost all of them being on Princeton.
Princeton, like we've said time and time again, yep, there it is. Personal foul against the Princeton Vikings once again. They have just been showing a lack of, not going to say sportsmanship, but a lack of discipline. And it's something that they need to fix. This is one of those things where you're not benefiting anybody by doing some of these things that people are getting called for right now.
And obviously we're not down on the field. Don't want to make any assumptions about what's going on, but after so many unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, start wondering, when as a coach do you just tell your guys to, like, stop doing whatever they're doing? Ball gets pushed up 15 yards. Knutson stands back there. Ryder hooks to his right. Jaden Say out left. He will look his way. Slant right across the middle for Jaden Say. Too far in front of him. Too hard of a throw for Jaden Say to reel in. Almost picked off. East still with 0 up on the board. It'll be a 2nd down and 10. The last time Lakota East shut out was 2 years ago. Very last game of the season after JT Kitna went out with his ankle injury. Jay-Sean Santar had to step in those last 2 games. Last time East was shut out was that last game against Mason in Mason, 24-0. Trying to avoid that here. Knutson fires deep to Chris Boyer. This time it's on the money, and East will avoid the shutout. Chris Boyer with a really nice catch. Finally, East gets the deep ball to connect.
Like you said, Niall Knutson and Chris Boyer have been trying to get that fade ball to work, and we've seen it thrown up multiple times, and we've seen it get a little bit too much, but that one was right on the money. A nice throw and catch by Niall Knutson and Chris Boyer.
(35-7). Fans finally have something to clap about. This offense walks off the field with points up on the board. We will step away for just a moment. Still 4th quarter. Clock is stopped currently 5 minutes, 30 seconds after a touchdown at will. Still going to be running clock in this game. We'll step away for just a moment.
Sideline getting a little hyped up here.
3. Oh.
Gruber
Came back a little earlier than I was expected. Sorry about that. We also apologize for the camera cutting blue and black. Camera almost dead. It's been a long game.
Oh.
That a not good kick from Tyler Gruber. Trying to squib it high and to the left.
Flag flies out on the field.
Most for the kick being out of bounds. So
Mm-hmm.
Princeton will be set up with good field position. Wouldn't be surprised to see their backups go out there. 5 minutes, 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter.
Princeton is in a position here. They are up 4 touchdowns here with 5 minutes left in the game. They're just trying to get the rest of this game over with. They just got to run the clock, 5 minutes of play. We've seen it from them already, so they're just trying to get this clock run down. We're going to see a lot of short runs here and a lot of just what they've been doing so far, because Princeton has been showing a lot of pretty long drives on offense so far tonight.
Despite the score, you know, you get your first touchdown against Princeton backups, you got to think, despite being 35 points, this defense had some drives where they looked really good against a really good running team. I know it's tough to tackle Zion Neal, believe me, I know. Calling games, saying his name, chanting his name last year, always seemed like he'd be the big play guy for East. But David Hambrick, a guy that's really good on the ground for Princeton, as they will pitch it to David Fields, trying to make a cut. Their backup still able to move the ball. As I was saying, though, this East defense, they've looked good on drives. I mean, David Hambrick's a guy that he averaged like 10 yards a carry last week versus West, and we were able to hold him to probably around 3 or 4. So East has got to take that win, especially their running defense win. I know it's looking a little bad right now as L.J. Williams takes it for about 4. You got to think a lot of positives after getting ran all over last week by Hamilton, getting ran all over the week before that by Mason. Able to stop a very good Princeton team for the most part on the ground. Obviously some things to shore up, you know, want to get better at passing. We talk about East being the #1 passing defense in the GMC, but I mean, Loris Barnes, when he was in, was playing really good football, finding his guys. Main focus of this week's practice has got to be on the offense. Finding a way for that O-line, even when you're down, to get now Knutson some time as L.J. Williams will make a man miss, will not go down. Another flag flies as L.J. Williams runs into the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the year. But a flag is thrown.
This has definitely been a game to highlight a lot of different small issues. There haven't been any giant gaps right now on the defensive side of the ball. There's just some small, tiny things that they need to work on during practice to get ready for next week against Fairfield. So it's definitely going to take some hard work, as Princeton will get their next touchdown of this matchup. This is turning into, or already has been, complete complete blowout by Princeton to Lakota East.
A very strong showing from Princeton. They seem primed to make a run and win out the rest of their GMC matchups. Dominance against Lakota East. East hasn't seen a game like this in quite some time.
Lakota East's offense especially.
Oh, yeah.
They've just been struggling to manage themselves against this fantastic Princeton defense. Princeton's one of those teams all around where they are great on both sides of the ball. They play good offense and they play great defense. As we look over at the scoreboard, it's definitely very different than what we saw last year when these two teams matched up. But even with the harsh-looking score, East comes out of this knowing that there were improvements made to their defense, which is definitely something you want to see and you want to hear after what happened these last 2 weeks prior to tonight.
Most definitely. I think the main issue those last 2 weeks was just the run defense, and it seems like they've figured it out for the most part. Obviously, the score 42-7, you're going to look back at the stats and see Princeton running all over us, but that's after this game. It was already 28-0. You have stoppage for the injury. Nobody's really wanting to play. All these rushing yards coming in late. The start of this game, I mean, this was a 14-0 ball game at halftime. You don't see Lakota East with 0 points at halftime too much, so these next GMC opponents the rest of this season, we'll have to see what's up come playoff time, but there's still a lot of time in this year for this offense to just gel. Find a way to gel when you're getting pushed back, when there's no time in the pocket, when Ryder Hooks isn't getting the ball, when Ryder Hooks isn't moving the ball. There's still time. There's still 5 weeks, 5 games left in the year to improve your offense, find ways to score. And I got to be honest, none of the GMC teams, maybe apart from Lakota West, is going to have a defense quite as good as Princeton. So obviously you're feeling bad. You know, you've been shut out all game, but Princeton has a premier defense in all of Cincinnati, all of Ohio.
Yeah, when you have a team like Princeton and some of these really big members of the Princeton defense, such as Terrence Jones, Elijah Waller, Derek Jeffries, just to name a few, you have a lot of guys here that could be elite defensive stars for any other team in the GMC, if not wider out than that, but they all come together to be another piece of this insane Princeton puzzle. And this is why they're so good, is because they have all of these weapons that combine to make a fantastic football team.
Well, it starts with stopping the run. You know, Ryder Hooks isn't having the day you want. Jaden Say takes that kick return up to the 45. I mean, it all starts with the run. I think that's what Princeton's go-to thing is. A lot of pressure on the quarterback and stuff the run, you know? For this Princeton team to lose a game, it's gonna come from a mobile quarterback and just a team that will not quit. They threw 6 interceptions against Moeller, and Moeller only put up 41 points. I said earlier, Mr. Ohio winner as a junior, 4-star quarterback who's going to also play baseball, Matt Ponitowski at Moeller, only had 72 passing yards against this Princeton defense. So you knew it was going to be tough. Obviously a lot of things to improve on, but this East team is not going to see a defense quite as good as Princeton the rest of this way through, as P.J. McFarland will get another grab for a short gain.
The only thing I really have to know here, like you said, is you're going back and replaying this Princeton versus Moeller game, and you're saying, oh yeah, Moeller put up 41 points like it's no big deal, but quite frankly, it is a big deal that they put up 41 points, but even then, Princeton still had a good game.
Give a carry that time to the sophomore running back, Braden August. A nice little carry there. Here another guy he's going to have to be following the footsteps of Ryder Hooks after this year. Big shoes to fill. I mean, Ryder Hooks obviously not having the night you want, but I mean, he's still the leader in the GMC in rushing yards. He's still a guy that's going to go off against some of these GMC teams. Just didn't have the night he wanted to have against Princeton. Got to bounce back the next week. A.J. Skoog is in there now at quarterback. They sit now Knutson down. A.J. Skoog, the senior. A lot of backups in now.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see if we're taking and looking forward at the futures of these two teams. I'm looking at Princeton here. A lot of seniors, a lot of juniors on these starting squads here. I'm seeing, looking at the starting Princeton defense, that's almost all seniors. But if we're taking in comparison Lakota East, we have a lot of players here that are going to be set up for the next couple years. For example, obviously, Niall Knutson, our starting quarterback, is just a sophomore. We have Braden Augusta, however you say it, who has gotten limited carries, obviously, behind Ryder Hooks, but he is still showing sparks of someone who is going to probably develop pretty well over these next couple years of his high school career.
Just hoping he learns a thing or two from Ryder Hooks. Well, this East team does have a lot of seniors. The freshman team still undefeated. JV squad looking solid too. We'll go all the way back to 8th grade. Hopewell. A lot of buzz about them. They're in the East District. A lot of buzz about Hopewell. That team, some are saying, one of the best teams they've ever seen. Liberty Junior also has a star running back. Those will still all be in the East District.
Definitely going to be
Some
a
deep cuts.
lot of big players coming up here, especially the, what you call it, the Reap Dynasty.
Yeah.
Coming up in the next 3 or 4 years.
Cohen Reap, Dawson Reap, and some more Reap brothers coming up through this East program. A lot of hope for the future, this East team. While this one doesn't go the way you wanted, this time will run out of this fourth quarter. Game is over, 42-7. The Princeton Vikings come out on top in dominating fashion. Zion Neal showed out against his former team. We want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching, all our athletic boosters, and Butler Tech for supplying the equipment. Shout out to my crew here, all my cameramen, Joel, Liam Martin, and Xavier. What's your last name again? LaGranger or something.